Welcome to this month's Financial Security for All webinar. We are so happy to have some of our NIFA counterparts here with us today. And we know that around the country, we have this army of extension educators who are working in our subject matter area in financial security for all. And we've titled our community of practice that because that is our goal. That's our mission, is to help individuals and families improve their financial stability. And I originally had contacted Keith Harris. We were interested in someone to talk about financial stability and NIFA and the Financial Literacy Education Commission and those national initiatives for financial literacy and financial capability. So we are so excited to have Jess Turner here. Jess is a program specialist with NIFA since June of 2020. And then of course, most of the folks in our community have met Keith Harris before. Keith is a national program leader, and his interest in household and community resilience. So thanks, Keith and Jess, for joining us today, and we're excited to learn more about rural resilience.
Well, I am Dr. Turner, but you guys can call me Jess. I'm an ag economist at the United States National Institute of Food and Agriculture, or NIFA, and it's such a pleasure to speak with you today. Through my work and experience with USDA NIFA programs and partnerships, we support American communities by delivering actionable, decision-relevant information that helps build household and community and financial resilience. Today, I'll go over a brief history, then I'll introduce my work at NIFA, along with current priorities, partnerships, initiatives, and how our cooperative extension and land-grant universities offer a framework through a grassroots approach for connecting resources to enhance household and community financial resilience. If you'd like a copy of this presentation, links, or assistance with any of the resources I share today, to include the USDA's non-discrimination statement, please let me know. Brief history on NIFA and the USDA. The USDA and NIFA are woven into America's rich history. Landmark U.S. farm bills and other significant legislation passed by Congress since the 19th century has shaped the history of NIFA and its agencies. The agency's history is largely tied to the establishment of land-grant institutions and the delivery of cooperative extension services. The role of partnerships is at the core of the integrated approach that NIFA uses to discover and apply groundbreaking solutions to critical issues related to agriculture, food, and the environment in rural communities across America. NIFA engages scientists from diverse disciplines to bring solutions to challenges in agricultural production. Our partnerships and stakeholders drive much of the work ensuring user-driven, decision-relevant information, tool and technology development, and improve the usability of financial resiliency and risk data. NIFA partnerships collaborate and co-produce information resources that support financially intelligent practices, which delivers a greater impact for programs and resources to state and local professionals in the field. We connect a wider range of NIFA partners, including federal and state agencies, extension, and tribal communities. We coordinate with regional organizations. We collaborate and co-produce information and resources to support resilient landscapes and resilient communities. Our co-production cycle. This graphic indicates our co-production cycle. We use a co-production to facilitate engagement among scientists and decision makers to develop more relevant and useful products. The co-production cycle shown in this figure demonstrates a process of knowledge exchange, monitoring, and learning that takes place among our partnering groups. Federal partnerships. If you get a copy of this presentation, these are all hyperlinked into the work with FLEC. One of our partnerships that I've gotten to work a lot with in my 3-year career at NIFA is U.S. Treasury's FLEC, which is the Financial Literacy Education Commission. FLEC was established under the Fair and Trade Accurate Credit Transaction Act of 2003. The commission was tasked to develop a national financial education website, which is mymoney.gov, and a national strategy on financial education. It's chaired by the Secretary of Treasury, and the Vice Chair is the Director of the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection. The commission is coordinated by the Department of Treasury's Office of Consumer Policy. The FLEC Commission is made up of the heads of 19 federal agencies that believe in a greater good concept of combining federal resources that benefit all. The commission convenes twice a year, focusing on FLEC's vision and mission of sustained financial well-being for all individuals and families in the U.S. In furtherance of this vision, the commission sets strategic direction for policy, education, practice, resource, and coordination so that all Americans make informed financial decisions. Oftentimes, FLEC is tasked from White House administration to pull resources from the Commission's 19 agencies to benefit the needs of American citizens. I was honored to speak at U.S. Treasury's July 2022 public meeting where I showcased my work with FLEC exploring financial risk to households, communities, and climate change factors. My work on this project began last fall and is ongoing as a direct response to President Biden's executive orders to help mitigate climate-related financial risk and support underserved communities through the federal government. Through this project, my colleagues and I launched a new effort to study the impact of climate change on households and communities. Over the past year, we've been researching and exploring the financial risk to households and communities, especially low-income and historically disadvantaged communities of climate change and climate transition. Our work with other experts inside and outside of the government is directed to help families prepare for climate-related financial risk, assist local governments, humanitarian agency, and financial intermediaries in building rural financial resilience from the bottom up. The result of the work will be showcased in a series of publications set to be released January of 23 to inform and educate American citizens on measures they can take to prepare for secondary and tertiary impacts of climate change stressors in our post-pandemic strong but fragile economy. These impacts include how households, communities, and small business experience financial resilience in the face of climate change and climate transition, how to map climate-related financial risk and identify which groups and regions will be most impacted, and what tools and best practices can be effective at addressing risk and vulnerabilities and how to implement them accordingly. Rural populations are stewards of most of the nation's forests, watersheds, rangelands, and agricultural lands and fisheries. Much of the rural economy is closely tied to this natural environment. Thus, rural residents in the lands that they manage have the potential to make important economic conservation contributions to climate change mitigation and adaptation. However, rural residents are also highly vulnerable to climate change effects due to their economic dependence on the natural resource base that is subject to multiple climate change and financial stressors. Residents in rural communities are often limited to capacity to respond to climate change impacts due to poverty limitations and community resources. Communication, transportation, water, and sanitary infrastructure are vulnerable to the disruption from climate stressors. Achieving social resilience to these challenges will require increases of local capacity to make adaptive improvements and share community resources. The USDA Climate Hubs is one of our federal partners that translate climate science into action by bridging science and management, helping bring USDA resources into practices on the ground. The mission of the Climate Hubs is to develop and deliver science-based, region-specific information and technologies to agricultural and natural resource managers that enable climate-informed decision-making and to provide access to assistance in implementing those decisions. The vision of the Climate Hubs is robust and healthy agricultural production, natural resources under increasing climate variability and climate change. Another one of our partners that we work closely with is food and nutrition and security. NIFA has a robust nutrition security team in partnership with USDA Food and Nutrition Security because NIFA recognizes nutrition as a cost-effective approach to address many of the societal, environmental, and economical issues faced across the globe today. NIFA works to ensure safe, nutritious, and secure food supply while also developing, delivering, and disseminating evidence-based nutrition education and promotion to prevent chronic diseases, improve health, and prioritize nutrition security. NIFA also invests in developing nutrition scientists across all stages of professional development to use an integrated approach to prioritizing nutrition and security and enabling sustainable agricultural systems through research, education, and extension. NIFA invests more than 129 million in research, education, extension, and innovation to advance USDA's goal to tackle food and nutrition insecurity. NIFA aims to prioritize nutrition security by focusing on production, preparation, consumption, disposal, and increase and improve the nutritional quality of all our federal nutrition safety net. NIFA resources and investments. At NIFA, we believe in casting the net wide to include all of our agency's assets in tackling critical challenges that rural Americans face. USDA's Economic Research Service, or ERS, conducts research and analysis on a broad range of economic and policy topics relevant to the rural economy. USDA NAS conducts hundreds of surveys every year and prepares reports covering virtually every aspect of U.S. agriculture. USDA works on a micro level with organizational framework through its partnerships and stakeholders. State and local partnerships. In this picture here, one of my favorite land-grant universities is one I graduated from is West Virginia University in 2007. Believe that is, my memory isn't failing me, it's Isle Hall. I'm looking at behind me, it's been quite a few years. As we're seeing that partnerships are integral to NIFA's mission, let me introduce you to NIFA's key partner, the land-grant university system. The Morrill Act of 1862 and 1890. The Morrill Act of 1862 created land-grant institutions so that working class citizens could have equal access to higher education with a focus on farming and mechanical skills. The Morrill Act of 1890 established the 1890 and 1994 land-grant institutions to address educational inequality among African Americans and Native Americans. The Hatch Act of 1887. NIFA's roots go back to 1888, a year after the Hatch Act authorized strengthening the capacity of land-grant universities to research agricultural problems faced by rural citizens. The act funded land-grant colleges in order to create a series of agricultural experiment stations, laying the foundation for cooperative extension services created by the 1914 Smith and Lever Extension Act. The Smith and Lever Act of 1940 was created by cooperative extension service associated with each land-grant institution. The partnerships between the agricultural colleges and USDA enables the dissemination of information produced at the experiment stations research. Department of Agriculture Reorganization Act of 1994. Prior to the Department of Agriculture's Reorganization Act of 1994, agencies that preceded NIFA were largely established as a result of executive orders or directives from the Secretary of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture Reorganization Act of 1994 merged the former Cooperative State Research Service and former Extension Service into a single agency, the Cooperative State Research Extension Education and Extension Service. The merger made a single agency responsible for allocating funding and providing leaderships of research, education, and extension. Food Conservation and Energy Act of 2008, or the 2008 Farm Bill. The 2008 Farm Bill established NIFA to take the place of Cooperative State Research, Education, and Extension Service. NIFA is responding to changing times and landscapes, addressing 21st century challenges such as food security, climate change, natural resources, environmental sustainability, bioenergy, childhood obesity, and food safety. Extension provides non-formal education and learning activities to people throughout the country, to farmers and other residents of rural communities, as well as to people living in urban areas. It emphasizes taking knowledge gained through research and education and bringing it directly to the people to create positive changes. Cooperative Extension offices are conveniently located in courthouses, post offices, and other local government buildings to improve the quality of people's lives by providing research-based knowledge to strengthen the social, economic, environmental well-being of families, community, and agricultural enterprises. Over the last century, Extension has adapted to changing times and landscapes. It continues to address a wide range of human, plant, and animal needs to both urban and rural areas. Today, Extension works to translate science to practical application, identify emerging research questions, find answers, and encourage application of science and technology to improve agricultural, economic, and social conditions. Extension works to prepare people to break the cycle of poverty, encourage healthy lifestyles, and prepare youth for responsible adulthood. Extension works to provide rapid response regarding disasters and emergencies, and it works to connect people to information. That's my favorite one. NIFA uses effective essential partnerships and components to connect to rural America. NIFA's history is largely tied to the establishment of land-grant universities and institutions and the delivery of cooperative extension services. NIFA supports both university and local offices of the cooperative extension system to provide research-based information in its range of audiences. As a cooperative extension system's federal partner, NIFA plays a key role in the mission by distributing annual congressionally appropriated formula grants to supplement state and county funds. Now I'm going to talk about some of our grant funding programs that help kind of bridge the whole picture together. NIFA's RRDC program, which is the Regional Rural Development Centers, play a unique role in USDA's service to rural America. They link the research and educational outreach capacity of the nation's public universities with communities, local decision makers, entrepreneurs, families, farmers, and ranchers to help address a wide range of developmental issues. They collaborate on national issues that span regions like e-commerce, the changing interface between rural, urban, and social economic demographics, workforce development, and market opportunity. Each tailors programs to address particular needs in its region. The Regional Rural Development Centers are a trusted source of economic and community development data, decision tools, education, and guidance for our nation's rural communities. Collectively, the centers form a one-stop shop connection to the nationwide network of land-grant universities and cooperative extension service. Each center serves a U.S. region and taps into the land-grant university network to form innovative research and extension partnerships in the area of rural development. The RRDCs help rural communities make science-based decisions about their community and economic development investments. The RRDCs are uniquely positioned to connect and support rural climate movement and have a long history of partnering with cooperative extension systems to support resilience in rural communities. A program that I've gotten to work a lot with in NIFA is the Agriculture, Food, and Research Initiative, or otherwise known as AFRI. It's the nation's leading competitive grants programs for agricultural sciences. I'm pretty passionate about all of my grant funding programs because I love the work that we're doing and the economic impact that we're making. But one of my favorite programs is AFRI A1661, otherwise known as Rural Economic Development. This program supports rigorous theoretical and empirical efforts to create and examine innovative approaches for advancing economic opportunities for rural entrepreneurs and communities with an aim to promote rural prosperity and well-being. The intent of the program is to improve the understanding of the factors and conditions that enhance economic opportunities for food, agriculture, rural businesses through tools and methods from the 62 various social sciences. NIFA awards AFRI research, education, and extension grants from multiple programs to improve rural communities and increase food production, stimulate the bioeconomy, mitigate impacts of climate variability, address water availability issues, ensure food safety and security, enhance human nutrition, and train the next generation of the agricultural workforce. AFRI was established by Congress in the 2008 Farm Bill and reauthorized in the 2018 Farm Bill. The program was reauthorized to be funded at $700 million per year. The Consolidated Appropriation Acts of 2022 funds AFRI at $445 million per year. NIFA provides AFRI grants to support research, education, and extension activities in 6 Farm Bill priority areas: plant and health production, animal health and production, food safety and nutrition, bioenergy, natural resources, ag systems and technology, and ag economics in rural communities. AFRI-funded science is vital to meeting food, fiber, and fuel demands as the world's population races toward a projected 9 billion by 2050, with diminishing land and water resources and increasing variable climatic conditions. In addition, AFRI programs help develop new technologies and a workforce that will advance our national security, our energy self-sufficiency, and the health of Americans. One of NIFA's key economic financial partnerships is the Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR. I call it SBIR, and Small Business Technology Transfer Programs. The SBIR programs offer competitively awarded grants to qualified small businesses to support high quality research related to important scientific problems and opportunities in agriculture that could lead to significant public benefits. Another one of my favorite grant funding programs is SBIR 8.6 Phase 1 and Phase 2. The objective of SBIR 8.6 is to improve the quality of life in rural America by creating and commercializing technologies that address important economic and social developmental issues and challenges in rural America. Proposal objectives in SBIR 8.6 assess the impacts of the proposed projects on protecting or enhancing the environment, on climate mitigation or adaptation, or the social economic development of rural areas. These proposals are focused on areas that have the potential to provide significant benefit to rural Americans. The USDA SBIR program partnership seeks to stimulate technological innovation in the private sector, strengthen the role of small businesses in meeting federal research and development needs, increase private sector commercialization of innovations derived from USDA-supported research and development efforts, foster and encourage participation by women-owned and socially economically disadvantaged small business firms in tech innovations. The USDA SBIR programs recognize that small business is often the driver of innovation, as well as an industry and the sector disruption. In the spirit, high-risk, high-reward proposals are highly encouraged and written into the legislative RFAs by national program leaders. SBIR program awards are based on scientific and tech merit of investigator-initiated ideas. The programs don't make loans and don't award grants for the purpose of helping businesses get established. Outcomes and delivery. Rural America provides our nation's food and energy resources, produces the fiber for manufacturing, and operates about 80% of the nation's critical infrastructure lifelines. Residents in rural America and in rural communities often have a limited capacity to respond to financial impacts due to poverty limitations and limited community resources. Achieving social and financial resilience to these challenges requires increasing local capacity to make adaptive improvements and share community resources. NIFA essentially uses the micro-level approach to serving American citizens through leading scientific research, strong stakeholder partnerships, and grassroots connections in order to get to the core of the economical and financial problems that rural Americans face. NIFA is able to produce life-changing outcomes and delivery through our partnerships with a vision for economic opportunity through leveraging key components of innovation, science, and technology. NIFA's mission is invest in and advance agricultural research, education, and extension to solve societal challenges. NIFA's vision is to catalyze transformative discoveries, education, and engagement to address agricultural challenges. NIFA's mission and vision closely correlates with the USDA's mission of providing economic opportunity through innovation, helping rural America to thrive, to promote agricultural production that better nourishes Americans while also helping feed others throughout the world, and to preserve our nation's natural resources. Grassroots and questions. Since the Food and Conservation Act of 2008 authorized its creation, NIFA has taken significant strides towards enhancing the impact of food, agriculture, natural resources, and human sciences. NIFA collaborates with leading scientists, policymakers, experts, and educators in organizations throughout the world to find innovative solutions to the most pressing local and global problems. NIFA's scientific process is then made through discovery and application, focusing on USDA strategic goals and priorities. NIFA then takes the priority areas, adds information obtained from partnerships, science, research, and discovery, then connects to America's grassroots communities through our land-grant universities, cooperative extension, and RRDCs. Grassroots run deep. I'm a product of Extension. I grew up in rural West Virginia with a deep-rooted Appalachian culture filled with family, farming, living off the land, and of course, a couple of fun things to do, to include showing 4-H livestock at the county fair. In these pictures, I'm showing left to right, looks like I'm showing some market steers, West Virginia alumni. Every time I have a football game within 100 miles, I have to go to it to support my alma mater there. On the top is my grandma and I overlooking our family farm there in West Virginia, where we own about, I'd say within the family, about 500 acres. It's all mountains, great. Top right corner is, I was telling a story before this presentation started about how I sold my market hog to get my first car. So it's kind of nice to be able to give back to these grassroots. My story changed a little bit though when I went through West Virginia University and I was planning to go into veterinary school and I got distracted by the Army. I did a 15-year stint, a combat tour, and landed in Kansas City. I don't regret it one bit because I think things come full circle. I commissioned into Army ROTC after graduating, and no matter how far I roam, country routes take me home. Now I spend my time, when I'm not finishing, I'm trying to finish my second PhD, spend my time raising my daughters. Left to right here, my 2 daughters that love animals just like I did all growing up. And I'm trying to teach them a little bit of what I learned growing up, trying to plant some flowers. They're my oldest on the top right. And I'm trying to teach them to cook. I think I may have to get some homemakers to help in with that, though. I got a few links from you guys that I really could use some help with. And I love the picture on the bottom right, the sunflowers. You can't live in Kansas without getting a picture of a sunflower. Continuing with grassroots, that's actually me, rural West Virginia, overlooking the farm in 1988. That's my mom's favorite picture of me. At NIFA, we're an agency working on your behalf. Know that you're not alone. We have resources to help you in your professional fields and communities. NIFA strongly believes that our people make the biggest impact in shaping tomorrow's future. My people are Extension folks. I know how much work you do, and I wouldn't be here where I'm at today without you. Please let me know if I can assist you with any of the resources mentioned in the presentation. Thank you for your daily hard work and dedication. Thank you for being an integral part of the solutions that help solve societal problems that America is facing. And thank you for your time and interest in learning more about NIFA's involvement and my work in rural financial resiliency.